It's a very good morning to all. Today we'll discuss the real functionalities and functional view of information assurance. Clearly, we come across, you understand the network security, computing security, communication security, and all together like operational security, threats, options. So, what are the warfare type categories? Followed by, we need to be know what are the functional. If you say regularly, proactive, reactive of information assurance, which involves mainly one among is protection. That means to say you have to protect any sort of an exchange flow and then protect the network, protect the system, protect the device. Those are the important functionalities. Similarly, detection also. Where exactly the errors, failures, threats includes happening and you have to detect, say that one procedure detection. And one among after detection and the detection, you have to go for capability distortion, restoration. Suppose, is it possible to recover? Is it possible to restore? You have to be take care such a way that any sort of steal data, any sort of duplication data, which were not in the protected, which were not in the detection, then according to the functionality of information assurance, capability to handle restoration also. And finally, there should be a response such a way that where the failure happens, where the threat happens, where which type of a device which are going to be perform proactive and the reactive actions. See here, we can find out an environmental situations which holds good very clearly with the flooring pillars of CIA threats. We can say confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which are indicates complete information assurance, environment protection pillars. We can call it as ensure the availability. Is it you have to make sure such a way that informations are available, systems are available, users are available, communication exists or not. That's why ensure the availability. Integrity, that means to say it's a part and partial of user maintain the very integrity of a data, and there should not be any discrepancy. Manage such a way that X belongs to this particular authority. X belongs to perform the following function, all which comes to a matter of integrity. Authenticity. You have to follow, user has to follow with the name registration, register level, and how the admission procedure and according to the administrative authority, the authenticity is very important factor. Among comes under the availability, integrity, authenticity is also important. We can see that one circular way of the triangle way of traits of the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability, authenticity is also part. And moreover, I mentioned very clearly, there should not be any leak, any steal of a flow of a exchange from that particular location, particular system, particular network, whatever you can call. And they have to maintain very confidential way. And non-repudiation of information, that means to say how best way, how long which are going to be protect, durability, all comes under a non-repudiation of information. That means to say important proactive and reactive involvement of the functionality comes under, one is an availability, another one is an integrity, authenticity, confidentiality, and non-repudiation information. If you go like that way, the environmental protection floor pillars, then what are the other attack detections? See, timely attack detection and the reporting is key to initiating the restoration and the responses process. You mean to say is, at what time exactly the system alert, at what time system interacted to the link establishment from the intruder, and what level of an attack approach, and these are all the timely. Time is very, very important. Timely attack detection and the reporting. Moreover, initiating the restoration also, and how the response procedures are going to be take place, and completely involving attack detection. Can say attack detection. Similarly, capability restoration, which relies on already existing procedures, and there should be a technique or a mechanism, you can say whatever it may be, go according to the priority. Which one is the first we have to be recover, server, client, system, user, and VIP, who is suppose. These are a matter comes to a capability of restoration, and may rely on restore also, and rely on backup. Mean to say, suppose we have a devices, physical devices, managing, taking regularly. We can come across easily scheduling backup, weekly backup, monthly backup, like that way we can proceed. Or redundant links, links already which are available, just give a shortcuts to go for restoring. Similarly, information system components or maybe alternative means of information transfer. The capability of restoration, it is a certain procedure which establish and make a mechanism based on the priority of the restoration of various essentially required functions. So, and mainly restore and backup and redundant links, involving many number of components of information system. And a post-attack analysis. After attack, what we observe like a timely attack, after the attack going to be take place, should be conducted to determine the command vulnerability, the changes, because we can say if something goes wrong on the system or a server, you have to make an FIR, fact finding. Similarly, what are the reports you have to be make a documentary, and you have to find out who are all involving current various other. That means to say command vulnerabilities, and mainly recommended how further we can improve the security. Even though take a very clear decision, definite particular decision to make sure such a way that there should not be any attack later stage. That is a post-attack analysis. And you say the attack response. What are all the involving functionality, determining actors and their motivations. That's very, very, is it a purposely they attacked? What their intention of attacking? What motivates them to be steal the data? And what are the changes which are going to be happening, establishing cause and the complete, we can say complexity, and may involve appropriate action against various levels of overall in and around the users, intruder you can say, and overall a contributors to vendors to suppliers to agents to all comes to a picture. But removing threats and enhancing deterrency, we can say attacking response is about a positive, take into consideration how best way the improvement of the security aspect in well-known manner. We understand like some of the important information assurance functionality involving both proactive and the reactive, enhancing, make a link and make a shortcut such a way that how the protection, detection, capabilities of restoration and the responses which are comes to a matter of improving the functionality of a security of an information. And of course, many number of references are there. If you take like McAfee today, the virus, correct now, what we are using for a regular, apply some of the information where which are some documentary evidence from the very responsible assumption that advisories, some critical infrastructure via the internet. Usually, regularly you are using. Now, Avastha is there, McAfee is there, antivirus where is correct now, number of. But they have their own standard level of documentary criminology report, which were happened during 2009. Similarly, GIA, Global Information Infrastructure. Today, we can see in all 360-degree angle, worldwide interconnection of communication networks, computers, various databases, consumer electronics, may a wide scope, advent of correct now the information flow which are available to the users. Similarly, national information infrastructure, that means to say information assurance, the policy which applies most of the evidence and the milestone from one to another, which comes from like a GI also, national information infrastructure also, those within serving the especially United States of America, the government, how which are going to be manageable, commerce, how the regular activities of our day-to-day activities, a commerce of commercial related flow which are going to be, and research which are involving the policy matter of national information infrastructure. Similarly, DI, defense information infrastructure, within or serving a Department of Defense, you can say. Some of the specific and case studies like a SIPRNet, NIPRNet, correct? These are the various other nodes mainly used for the purpose of military organization. That's why DOD, Defense Information Infrastructure. Some of the case studies. Similarly, Presidential Decision Directive, later long back, essentially the minimum operations of economic and government. Now the changes were happened to be for the flow of an exchange of a critical infrastructure strategy in the information security. Some of the important example relays telecommunications, energy, solar energy, electric energy, banking sector, transportation, and especially emergency services, like in which way we are using ambulance, how we can get back the security immediately if something goes wrong. Correct? No? These are some of the PDD level of a documentary. But still the vulnerabilities are increased, become automated and interlinked. Not in a position to manage from the manpower, But later, in which way the changes will happen in an exponential manner, the security. Similarly, informations are going to be steal one to another. Like that way, parallelly, the information systems also become automated and interlinked to manage such a way that if any sort of a technological, standard automated technological subject to find the better solution for if anything happened through virus, worms, or various other, we can say, in which way with the malware, adware, correct, no, various other type of threats, will study all those things. And these are all comes from with respect to CIO of Federal Department, in which way the information assurance documentary evidence for critical infrastructure available. And moves like that way, some of the committees designation of the National Security Telecommunications, ISSC. See, we understand very clearly there should be authority, there should be organization body, there should be a forum to manage and interlink such a way that any sort of threats, insecurity, and in which way the integrity is going to be failed, confidentiality which are going to be managed, unmanageable, and similarly no availability flow, more or less there should be a international standard organization, or you can say federal organization with respect to defense. So they, what their job? They used to see Information System Security Committee chaired by Department of Defense. Similarly, federal policy directives on network security, and if especially institutionals, universities to offer security certification, say that one, everything, none of them easily can enter, none of them can easily go. Correct? Now we have a setup of secured level of a flow within the regional space of our campus premise. There also they have to be look into that one. A national security policy comes under NSTIISC. We can say that one, Information System Security Committee. And there should be NSA, National Security Agency. This is also one of the standard organization, leading cryptographic organization, maintaining the changes of various private key, public key, in which way which are going to be manageable and which are going to be handled with the help of the procedural and the operational view under the policy of National Security Agency. It builds and tests secure system for classified application and coordinates with overall the industry. They used to give more number of, correct, no? Most of the distributed environment security feature is developed comes under NSA, National Security Agency. And similarly, another NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. We can say formally name as National Bureau of Standards, so which leads most of the experience flow of NSAs going to be standardized according to the private and the public key encryption systems, especially those who are publicly known, civilian use. Example, some of the AES, standard algorithm, digital encryption standards. So similarly, we can say ES standards, digital encryption standard, asynchronous and correct, various other algorithms are there, which comes under the policy, which comes under the terms and conditions of NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. Overall, easily manage the flow. And once again, IGI includes the consideration of non-security threats, which are going to be available information system, nature and the process of recovery, various incidents which are going to be happen. and especially just a matter of simply not like a technology, which are a certain procedures, managing, emphasizing, and the processing and overall involving comes under technological aspect. And the deployment, where exactly which are going to be regional involvement, then some of the standard already we figure out very clearly what are all the various categories of the classes. You say computer security, communication security, signal security, that means how the exchange of a flow in the form of analog or digital, whatever, signal security, transmission security, emanation security, denying of correct. Now we can say if something goes wrong, then overall the responsible person to make allowing and denying an access, there should be some sort of a reasons which are behind. Information from unintended personality or functionality such as radio. Similarly, some of the operational security, especially into information assurance deploying, which involves heterogeneous disciplines of security. According to that one, you can easily list out computer security, communication security, signal security, transmission security, emanation security. Similarly, operational security, which process involve how we can easily protect, how we can easily manage in a systematic manner. These are all the simple reason, and we can say how the level of computing relations to from information assurance. And some of the documentary which are available, say complete information assurance glossary, you can find out from NIAG. It is a file we can easily download. We can come across some of the basic information which are very essential. Just I say these are all clear information about what is meant by the information assurance, what are all the various proactive and the reactive involvement actions or the activities are going. One among like IA environment protection pillars, so attack detection, no? Capability restoration, no? Attack responses, so, and who are all going to manage successfully, you can say system of organization, GIA, Global Information Infrastructure, National Information Infrastructure, similarly Department of Defense, Defense Information Infrastructure, Federal Defense Directives, and similarly you can find out a committee overall involving in order to manage a telecommunications information system. So similarly, National Security Agency, National Institute of Standards and Technology, organizing authority, and completely deploying a number of information involving computing security or computer security, communication security, signal security, transmission security, emission security, and finally the process of involvement of protecting an information can call it as operational security. These are a clear picture. But I would like to be just thoroughly just go what are all the assets which are part of contributing for information assurance. We can say some of the standard resources being to be protected, which includes physical access, especially a property which involve managing a physical then devices which are very close to the server, system, router, what we can call people, user managing, logical assets. So we can classify these assets. One is a physical asset, logical assets, similarly system assets. Property, devices which are very well attached with for managing the security, may come across like cellular phone, firewall, router, switch, all which comes to a matter. Computing devices, manpower also the asset. Similar logic assets, information, data, transmission, storage, processing, and you say intellectual property, where the flow of an information which store in, then you can say device of storage, which are going to be involving. That means a data, once you specify the relay of the data, storage of a data, processing of a data, all which comes under logical assets. And later, what purpose we are going to be make use with a technique or methods or algorithm or a programming, then comes to a matter called intellectual property. This is one of the important logical asset. Similarly, system assets, any sort of a set of instruction software which are going to be handled to make an interface of a data to use for the specific. Similarly, hardware, data, administrative, physical, communication, personal resources within the organization, within the information system. They have to be some sort of value-based flow, which are essentially protect for the purpose of maintaining a security of the information system. But some of the solutions, what it says, to say is subject to. In terms of, we can make easily the category objects to subjects to action. Any sort of an item being protected by the system, we say the documents, files, the directories and the databases, transactions, folders, whatnot we can throw objects, because the items which are going to be manageable in the form of a soft core or hard core, which are to be seen in the form of icon spec, then you can say objects. The items being protected by the system, mainly in the form of a document. So documents which are available in the form of files. So all files are stored in directories. And if you take any sort of a database, which are a part, and how the transaction, the procedure which are going to be take place. And then subjects to entities, how the process which are going to be manageable, user, students are users, faculty are users, administrator are a user, VCs user, authorities, correct, no, all come. How the process of a flow which are going to be manageable that execute a different level, a task, we can say activities, and request access to the subject objects. See, any entity which are going to be processed with the help of a users available, request and access to the objects available, like any file. This is the part. If you making ourselves online registration, being a student of an authority, then automatically it has to process in the form of files, save, and then with the help of some standard databases, transaction which are going to be take place. You have to write an examination, get the marks card, then automatically which are out to be indicate such a way that once we clear, correct? These are all certain subjects and the activities going to be. And similarly, what are all the actions? Once we have like objects and the subject, operations are to be performed. Primitive or a preliminary level or simple and the complex that can operate on objects and must be controlled. Example, we have a simple multics, simple POSIX, and simple Unix Linux process may have permission to perform read, write, execute files. Correct. Now you see that one. If you press ls, you can find ls minus al. You can see read, write to executable options are available. In addition, the process can create other process. You can see that one. How we can just use ln. How we can use like a pipeline process. How we can use like one to another. Correct. Now more number of commands within a single line. We can say that one, how input process, output process, or multiple number of processes are going to create and delete files. Of course, these are some of the certain example. If you take an example which related to the system of multi-programming, multitasking, multi-user, and multi-processing environment. And both subjects and objects are associated with certain attributes. Very, very important. Correct. Now you say, I told you like ls minus a, ls minus al, ls minus r, ls minus capital L, ls minus I. Correct. Now these are any sort of subject files which are going to be accessible. Any sort of folders also accessible. Any sort of correct users are going to be accessible. Consists of certain associated with performing function with attributes. The security mechanism may operate in terms of the attributes, and manipulation of the attributes can be used. Subvert security. See, suppose change mode, change ownership, change mode. We have a changing execution option. Similarly, write option, read option, any operation, correct, now to the particular file. Similarly, for the user also, you can just user. How we can change the permission, how we can change for the mode operation. Mode operation is a read, write, executable permission. Some important example of what are some attributes associated with subject and with object, how the attribute. You can take some example how which are going to be manageable throughout the system of security. Of course, information assets may have a critical aspects. Availability, that should be very important. Accuracy, authenticity, confidentiality, integrity, and all which comes to a matter of utility and the possession one to another. You can say how these are the things which are going to be available, and terms which are basically understand the real set of information to be managed in a full-fledged security manner. These are critical. Next class, I will finalize with the threats. So, what are the terminology of the threats, risks, and finally cyber security. That completes the first unit of cryptography and network security. Please, all of you, if you have any sort of queries, you can ask questions, and that will complete the clear picture about what we can understand with respect to confidentiality, integrity, and the availability